He left me because I was overweight, but my weight loss story will break your heart. I will never forget the day he left me. The rain pattered against the windows, matching the tears streaming down my face. He looked me in the eyes, his gaze a mixture of frustration and resignation, and said, "I just can't do this anymore. You're not the same person I fell in love with." And just like that, he was gone, the door closing behind him with a soft click that somehow sounded like thunder to my breaking heart. My world shattered into a million pieces. I cried for days, wondering why I wasn't good enough, why my body had become a prison that trapped not just me, but my relationships too. But then, something changed. A moment came that altered everything. And if you stay with me until the end of this story, I will share the one thing that changed everything for me, the secret that helped me finally lose weight, rebuild my confidence, and discover a strength I never knew I had. Trust me, this isn't just another weight loss story. This is about finding yourself when the world tells you that you're lost, and you don't want to miss how it ends. My name is Sarah, and for most of my life, I struggled with my weight. Growing up, I was always the average girl, not thin, not heavy, just somewhere comfortably in the middle. But life has a way of changing things when you're not looking. It started in college with the freshman 15 that turned into the senior 30. Then came my first job, with its long hours and stress-filled deadlines. Lunch breaks became rushed affairs at the nearest fast food place. Dinner often came from a delivery app after exhausting workdays. Exercise? That was something I'd get to tomorrow, a tomorrow that never seemed to arrive. I met Jake during this time. He was charming, successful, and somehow, miraculously, interested in me. On our first date, he made me laugh until my sides hurt. On our second, he listened to my dreams with genuine interest. By the third, I was falling in love. For the first year, everything was perfect. He'd bring me my favorite chocolate when I had a bad day. He'd hold me close and tell me I was beautiful, curves and all. "You're gorgeous," he'd whisper. And for a moment, I'd believe him. But slowly, things started to change as my weight continued to climb. 10 more pounds. Then 15. Then 20. I noticed how his eyes would linger on slimmer women when we went out. I caught the slight hesitation before he introduced me to new colleagues. He stopped holding my hand in public. The compliments dried up like morning dew under a harsh sun. Date nights became rare, then non-existent. He barely looked at me anymore. And when he did, I no longer saw love in his eyes, only disappointment. I could feel the distance growing between us like a living thing, but I kept telling myself it was just in my head, that relationships go through phases, that things would get better. Then, one evening, after a silent dinner where the only sounds were forks against plates and the occasional forced small talk, he sighed and looked at me with sadness in his eyes. "Sarah," he said, his voice quiet but firm, "I don't feel the same way about you anymore. I can't do this." My heart sank to the pit of my stomach. "What do you mean?" I whispered, even though deep down, I already knew. The words were coming, and they would hurt worse than any physical pain I'd ever experienced. "I think we should break up," he continued, not quite meeting my eyes. "I need someone who takes care of themselves. Someone who," he hesitated, but I knew what he wanted to say. The words hung in the air between us, unspoken but deafening. "Someone who looks different." Tears ran down my face as I watched him pack a small bag. He didn't take much, just enough for a few days, promising to come back for the rest later. And just like that, he walked out the door. 3 years together, ended in a 5-minute conversation. My world crumbled like a sandcastle hit by a wave, leaving nothing but wreckage behind. I spent weeks crying. I called in sick to work so often that my boss started sending concerned emails. My friends tried to reach out, but I pushed them away. I didn't want their pity. I didn't want their reassurances that I'd find someone better. I barely ate, then I ate too much. I barely slept, then I slept all day. All I did was replay his words in my mind, an endless loop of rejection. I need someone who takes care of themselves. Was I really that unlovable? Was I really not worth fighting for? Had my body become so disgusting that it erased all the love he once felt for me? I scrolled through old photos of us, noting how my face had grown rounder, how my smile seemed to diminish as my size increased. I tortured myself with these comparisons until one night, something snapped. I had been crying for hours, curled up on the bathroom floor in my pajamas. When I finally stood up, I looked at myself in the mirror. Really looked. My eyes were red and puffy. My hair was unwashed and limp. My clothes felt tighter than ever, the fabric straining across my body. And for the first time, I truly saw myself. Not just the weight, but the sadness, the hopelessness. The version of me that had given up on herself long before Jake gave up on me. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. I wasn't going to change for him, I was going to change for me. I deserved better than this broken version of myself. I deserved health. I deserved energy. I deserved to look in the mirror and feel proud of what I saw. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I put on the dusty sneakers from the back of my closet, found leggings that still fit, and went for a walk. Not a power walk, not a jog, just a simple walk around my neighborhood. It was hard. My legs ached after just a few blocks. My breath came in heavy gasps. Sweat soaked through my shirt despite the cool morning air. But I kept going, one foot in front of the other, for 20 minutes. When I returned home, I felt something unexpected. Pride. Not because I'd done something impressive. Many people could walk much farther without a second thought. But because I'd done something for myself. Something positive. Something healthy. The next day, I did it again, and again the day after that. Each day, I went a little farther, stayed out a little longer. I started researching nutrition. No more crash diets or magic pills. I learned about whole foods, about protein and fiber, about balanced meals and proper hydration. I cleaned out my pantry, donating the boxes of processed snacks and sugary cereals. I filled my refrigerator with vegetables, lean proteins, and fruits. I started meal prepping on Sundays, portioning out healthy lunches and dinners for the week ahead. I learned to read food labels and understand serving sizes. I started drinking water instead of soda, green tea instead of sugary coffee drinks. It wasn't easy. There were days when my muscles screamed in protest. There were nights when I dreamed of chocolate and woke up with cravings so intense they brought tears to my eyes. There were moments when I stood on the scale and saw no change, despite a week of dedicated effort. But here's the thing, I struggled for months. Sometimes I wanted to quit. Sometimes I felt like I wasn't making progress fast enough. The voice in my head, the one that sounded suspiciously like Jake's, told me I was wasting my time, that I would always be the before picture, never the after. That's when I found something that changed everything. A simple, natural method that made my weight loss journey 10x easier. If you want to know what it is, stick around, because I'll reveal it soon. Weeks turned into months. My walks became longer, then faster. Eventually, they transformed into slow jogs, then runs. I discovered yoga videos online and fell in love with how they made me feel. Strong, centered, capable. I joined a local gym and, despite my initial fear of judgment, found a supportive community of people on their own health journeys. My relationship with food changed too. I stopped viewing meals as enemy or comfort. Food became fuel, delicious, satisfying fuel that nourished my body and supported my goals. I learned to cook healthy versions of my favorite dishes. I discovered that strawberries could satisfy a sweet craving, that a square of dark chocolate didn't have to lead to eating the whole bar. Most importantly, I started viewing my body with compassion instead of criticism. Each small change was a victory to be celebrated, not a reminder of how far I still had to go. Then, one crisp autumn morning, 6 months after my journey began, I stepped on the scale and saw a number I hadn't seen in years. I had lost 50 pounds. I couldn't believe it. I stepped off and back on again, sure the display was malfunctioning. But the number remained the same. Tears of joy filled my eyes as I stood there, half naked in my bathroom, looking at a digital readout that represented so much more than weight. It represented dedication, perseverance, self-love. For the first time in forever, I felt beautiful, not because of the number, but because of what it represented. I had promised myself I would change, and I had kept that promise. That evening, I posted a before and after photo online. It wasn't to brag or seek validation. It was to mark a milestone, to hold myself accountable, to celebrate how far I'd come. I didn't expect what happened next. My inbox flooded with messages. Women, and some men, from all over started reaching out. They shared their own struggles, their own heartbreaks, their own feelings of despair. They told me they felt the same way I once did, hopeless, broken, and alone. They asked for advice, for encouragement, for the secret to my success. And do you know what I told them? I told them the same thing I'm about to tell you right now. There's one thing that helped me lose weight faster, feel more energized, and finally break free from the struggle. It's a special coffee blend that boosts metabolism and burns fat naturally. I didn't believe it at first. In fact, I was skeptical of anything that promised quick results. But after researching the ingredients and reading hundreds of reviews, I decided to give it a try. After all, I already drank coffee every morning, why not try a version that might help my journey? The difference was noticeable almost immediately. I had more energy throughout the day, which made my workouts more effective. My cravings diminished dramatically, especially in the afternoon when I usually wanted something sweet. And within 2 weeks, I noticed my weight starting to drop even faster than before. This wasn't a miracle cure, I still had to eat right and exercise regularly. But it was like having a secret weapon in my arsenal, something that made everything else I was doing work better. If you're struggling with your weight, if you're feeling hopeless or stuck, I highly recommend you try it. Click the link below and start your journey today. Almost a year to the day after Jake walked out of my life, I ran into him at a coffee shop downtown. I was there meeting a friend, wearing jeans that were 2 sizes smaller than my old skinny jeans and a fitted top that showed off my newly toned arms. He didn't recognize me at first. Then his eyes widened, and his jaw literally dropped as he saw the new me, confident, healthy, and glowing with an inner light that no amount of weight loss could create on its own. "Sarah," he stammered, abandoning his place in line to approach me. "Wow, you look amazing." I smiled, not out of politeness but because I genuinely felt no anger anymore. "Thanks. How have you been?" We exchanged pleasantries for a moment, that awkward dance of exes who haven't seen each other in a while. Then he paused, looked me up and down once more, and asked, "Maybe we could get together sometime? Catch up properly?" I knew what he was really asking. I could see it in his eyes, hear it in the hesitant tone of his voice. He wanted another chance. The old Sarah would have jumped at the opportunity, desperate to be loved again. But I wasn't the old Sarah anymore. I cut him off gently but firmly. "No, Jake. You left when I needed you most. When I was at my lowest point. And that's okay, you're entitled to your preferences. But I didn't do this for you. I did this for me. And the person I am now deserves someone who loves her at every stage of her journey." The look on his face was one I'll never forget, a mixture of regret and realization. I wished him well, paid for my coffee, and walked away. With each step, I felt something I never felt before, from seeking his approval. Freedom from measuring my worth through his eyes. Just pure, complete freedom. If you've ever felt unloved, unwanted, or hopeless because of your weight, I want you to know something. You are strong. You are beautiful. And you can change your life. My journey wasn't just about losing pounds, it was about gaining self-respect. It was about learning that I am worthy of love and care, especially from myself. It was about discovering that inside me was a determined, disciplined person I never knew existed. Your journey might look different from mine. Your timeline will be your own. Your challenges will be unique to you. But the most important step is the same for all of us. It's that first step, the decision to try, the commitment to yourself. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Click the link below to try the coffee that helped me on my journey. It might just change everything for you too. Your future self is watching you right now, hoping you'll be brave enough to begin. Don't disappoint her. She's counting on you. And so am I.